Hi everyone, and welcome back to The Learning Gardener. Today, not only are we tidying up this slightly cooked hydrangea in my favourite garden bed in the whole backyard, but we are going to be planting a few other new plants in here. Thankfully, the hydrangea has actually recovered and put on some beautiful new growth. I think it was just not quite settled in enough to get the amount of sun that it is getting, but now it's coping better. But the reason this area is my absolute favorite garden bed at this point in time in the whole yard is because I absolutely love this sort of lilac purple color of this buddleia combined with the flannel flower, which I've said a number of times is my absolute favorite flower. It is a white flannel feeling flower with a little tiny green tip, and it's an Australian native. Finally, the feverfew is starting to put on some actual blooms, so that's going to be nice because it will also grow up a little bit taller and provide a little bit of a reprieve from the sun intensity for the hydrangea. But I also really love the Mirage Violet or Violet Mirage Salvia with the intense glowing blue of the lobelia. So what we're going to be doing is popping some more lobelia in here. Some of it is kind of burnt out. I'm not sure if it's had enough sun, but we've also got some lilac zinnias that we're going to pop in, and I'm going to pop them over here because I want to move this bird bath because they don't use it because there's not enough leaf coverage for them to feel protected to come in and use it. And what I want to do is add that beautiful lilac color of the zinnias here so that it complements the buddleia. I want to put some more lobelia in everywhere so that it spreads through here and provides a beautiful ground cover. And we've also got a couple of Russian sage, which is kind of like a more ethereal, beautiful version of a lavender that doesn't need a lot of water, doesn't need fertilizer. Basically, just plant it and leave it. It's a low maintenance plant and it wants to be low maintenance. My only concern for that plant is that our soil can sometimes get a little bit wet if we get a lot of rain, so I don't know how it'll cope with that. But I do have a couple out the front that have made it through 12 months, so hopefully it'll be happy enough here. But let's get to planting and add a little bit of annual color here and the Russian sage, which is a perennial. If you can hear some rough and tumble and mischief going on in the background, that is Rafa and Clancy, my best friend's dog, who is staying with us for a couple of days. So that means I have to keep the camera well out of the way of normal traffic zones because those two have already broken one camera before and bashed this one over quite a few times. So the plan is, because I want as much buddleia as possible, I'm only going to plant annuals around this because I want to allow this plant to get massive. I know I'll have to cut it back for winter, and the same goes for the what are you called? Hydrangea. So I'm probably going to put the lilac zinnias here, and then back here I'll put the perennial Russian sage. But because this garden bed was created on a bed of annoying weeds, some of which just will not go away, I'm going to scrape back the mulch and then put a bag of soil down where I'm going to plant, because underneath the mulch is quite thick cardboard. So the cardboard's going to take a little more time to break down before these plants are going to be able to root into the ground, which is probably part of the reason why the hydrangea had previously looked stressed. So let's get into this job now. We've got the bird bath moved and get everything planted up so that hopefully for the last couple of weeks of summer it can put on some growth and we can see some beautiful blooms. as I'm finding places to sneak in the lobelia, I might as well add some Persian cress, which is something that I've discovered grows really easily from seed. The nice thing about the Persian cress is it's something I've wanted to grow all this season as a filler flower for cut flowers. So hopefully it will serve that purpose, and that will kind of help size manage it now that this area is getting a lot fuller and some of the plants are starting to establish themselves. But it will also kind of, once it starts to flower, give this area a bit of a nice grassy texture incorporated into the overall look. So hopefully it should look quite lovely. There isn't a lot of that really intense glowing blue that the lobelia gives on this side. So I do have one blue echinops, if I can get it out of the seedling. Oh, it's a bit root bound. But I mean, there's not a lot of room here, especially once the buddleia really gets going. But hopefully there's just enough room that that blue color can kind of establish itself in this area longer term. And I'm just going to tuck a few lobelia around it as well, just to kind of bring some color balance to that area. Also, to bring some balance to this side, we will tuck in a couple of Persian cress on this side too. Originally the Persian cress had been intended for Ollie's memorial garden, but I think realistically by the time the weather is not so disgusting that I actually feel like trying to lay paving, it'll probably be towards the end of the growing season, and Persian cress is an annual, so I doubt it would make it through our winter. Some things do though, so I have capsicums that manage to winter over, so sweet peppers, and they're actually doing better in their second year. And I have a coleus that nearly died in winter and then turned into the biggest beast in the world. But I'll have to show you that another time because we are running out of daylight. But that coleus that survived winter and then has gone on to turn into the world's biggest plant is quite impressive. As I plant the last of the Persian cress, I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing the way this garden bed and this garden as a whole is changing and growing, and hopefully soon we will start to see some huge growth, as I'd love to hide the colorbond fence behind me. But I want to just say I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Can't believe a fly just walked across the lens. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.